I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll have Public Appeals Part 1. If you have a public appeal, please sign in and state your name, and you have 5 minutes for your appeal.
I'm back.
You're always welcome.
I'll come out of hibernation.
For the record, Councilman Schubsta will not be here for this meeting.
I'm Martha Lieberman, Coordinator of Project Lifesaver, and here we are doing our first and only fundraiser for Project Lifesaver, the Lehigh Valley. It's going to be June 2nd. It's a comedy night at Wisecrackers Comedy Club in Ramada Inn on MacArthur Road. Tickets are $20, and Project Lifesaver gets 10 out of every ticket sold. Interested, contact me at 610-966-8511.
What is the date again?
June 2nd, it's a Friday night. It's the only fundraiser we have done.
Are you going to be performing?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? Scare everybody out of there.
Just wondering.
No.
Thank you. I wish you the best of luck because it is a good cause.
Thank you.
Any other appeals? Hearing none? Does anybody have a community minute to bring forward?
Sure, I will. Sunday, June 4th is Community Day. There'll be all types of vendors and craft people and community, different things from the community there. I believe it's 12 to 6, and there's also a band playing that Inchity Echoes. We'll be down at Community Park as well.
And a carnival?
What's that?
And a carnival?
We'll see about that.
Yeah, that's up.
Well,
TBD.
And a possible carnival. All right. Anything else or anybody? Special presentations, we have none. Reading of the minutes, is there a motion to approve the May 1st, 2017 council meeting minutes? Councilman Dufresne, is there a second? Councilman Anders, questions or discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 6 ayes. Bear with me here a second. I lost my page. Decisions on bids. We have none. Communications. We have Nicholas Fisher from the Emmaus Ambulance Corps with a letter of resignation. Please accept this letter as my official resignation of employment from the Emmaus Ambulance Corps effective today. I'm resigning due to an educational opportunity and won't be able to fulfill my duties in Emmaus for the foreseeable future. I thank you for the opportunity to serve the people of Emmaus and work besides the professional staff. This decision does not come lightly, but it is my our best interest. Thank you again. Respectfully, Nicholas Fisher. So we wish him the best of luck. We also have a event form filled out by Kathy Minzer from the Recreation and Entertainment Commission for a cruising car show at the Community Park July 16th. That is on the Parks and Recreation Commission, it's on your agenda?
The committee.
Kind of. We'll handle that in the committee then.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My only concern would be that the next council meeting isn't until June 19th.
Correct.
Right,
So
Roy had said we should take care of it
We do need
tonight.
to handle this evening.
We'll take care of it during your committee.
Okay, very good.
All right.
I do note that Ms. Minzer is here also.
Okay.
If we need to-
I also received a letter on our desk tonight from the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission. It's the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission invites you to attend a public officials kickoff meeting for the total reconstruction and widening project of the Northeast Extension from milepost 48, which is Lineport Pike, to milepost 53, which is Lower Macungie Road, on Wednesday, May 31st at 10 a.m. at Upper Milford Township Building, which used to be the Kings Highway School. The purpose of the meeting is to introduce the project team and present the project scope and schedule to the public officials. The overall corridor for this project from the Quakertown interchange to Lehigh Valley interchange is broken into 3 sections. The commission will host meetings to introduce each section. May 31st is for mileposts 48 to 53. This project will include the widening of approximately 5 miles of existing turnpike roadway from 4 lanes with a 4-foot medium to 6 lanes with a 26-foot medium. It also involves replacing 7 turnpike mainline bridges, 2 bridges crossing over the turnpike, and 7 culverts, as well as constructing stormwater facilities and wetland and stream mitigation. The project limits begin north of Lineport Pike and extend to south of Lower Macungie Road. So,
Jim Farnsworth, John Dyschel, and I have already attended one meeting with these guys. This is, for some reason, they invited us to the other segment that was actually south of us. So we've already been to it. We'll go again, but what you really need to know is nothing's going to start for 5 years from now, and that's when bridge construction starts. 4 or 5 years from now. We're like 10 years out for actual road, like widening. 8 to 10 years, I think, is what they were telling us. So I have the notes on it. I mean, we were out
this
there
is the
probably
second
a month
phase.
ago. Yeah, I mean, they've spent the last 3 or 4 years down near King of Prussia area. So they're working their way up. There's a lot of bridge work that needs to be done. I know that's their first step, and I think that's 2021. I think is when they're slating some of that bridge work to be done. There's some total bridge reconstruction. There's some they can just expand it and use what's currently there. I think this time we're going to send some of our emergency people. Although I mean, with the project being so far out, we're going to have more meetings. So, you know, when you're talking 5-10 years from now, some of the people that are there, I mean, I'm looking around, I was looking out the room, and most of those guys that were at the meeting are going to be either retired or someplace else by the time the work actually gets done.
In a nursing home, maybe.
Right, maybe, yeah. So, I mean, that's how far out they're planning, but it's good to know what's going on now. So if you're able to attend, let me know. We'll get you on the list of people attending.
thank you. Anybody else have a communication to bring forward? There is no Borough Engineers report, Solicitors report.
I'll be very brief. I've attended more meetings with LCA, and this time Allentown was there, able to speak to their solicitor, who was in attendance. Our engineer has been diligently working on trying to work with their engineers, and by their, I'm including LCA in the mix, to try to find out the exact amount that we purchased, but we do know already that it is substantially higher than that which is contractually stated. I would like to have a meeting on the 19th with you and give you the options of what you can do, because we're going to have to eventually take one path or the other. So I might get you an email beforehand or an option chart that will give you some idea. But right now, I don't even know those numbers, so proportionately, it's hard to adjust. And then when you add on top of that their claim that our meters are not accurate, you throw another variable into it. So it may be a kind of thing we will never be able to just give you a pinpoint calculated number. But we'll discuss that, if you don't mind, on the 19th.
Okay.
That's all I have.
And
Thank
Shane,
you.
is that the meeting you will not be at?
It is.
Okay.
But,
Oh, darn.
but Shane and I will,
Or your input also before that meeting?
he will definitely
Yeah.
have the input with, I need his input on that.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business part 1, we have ordinance 1155, an ordinance amending the provisions of chapter 1, part 4, section A, subsection 407, committees of council of the Borough of Emmaus Consolidated Code of Ordinances to amend the purpose and function of the Community Relations, Planning, and Development Committee. This is the second reading. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve ordinance 1155? Councilman Dufresne, is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, any questions or discussion on the ordinance? So roll call vote. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Layberg? Aye. There are 6 ayes. There's no new business, no unfinished business, part 2. Items not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to bring forward? Hearing none, mayor's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I have 3 proclamations to read. Proclamation 2017-423, Police Week. Whereas law enforcement officers play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution and in protecting the lives and property of our citizens. And whereas these officers, through constant application of new procedures and techniques, are becoming more efficient in their enforcement of our laws. And whereas it is important that people realize the problems, duties, and the responsibilities of the police department, and the necessity for cooperating with them in maintaining law and order. And whereas it is proper for the citizens to express gratitude for the dedicated service and courageous deeds of law enforcement officers, and for the contributions they have made to the security and well-being of all people. And whereas on October 1st, 1962, by a joint resolution, Congress requested the President designate May 15th of each year as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week during which May 15th occurs as Police Week. Now therefore, I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, proclaim that the week of May 14th through May 20th, 2017 be known as Emmaus Police Department Week, and I urge all the residents and friends of Emmaus to join in this observance, done this 15th day of May 2017 in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. The next one, Proclamation 2017-424, Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, first responders, educators, administrators, and others. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services team, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Service Week. Now therefore, I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, proclaim that the week of May 21st through May 27th, 2017 be known as Emergency Medical Service Week with the theme EMS Strong, Always in Service. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Done this 15th day of May 2017 in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. And the next one, Proclamation 2017-425, National Public Works Week. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works employees. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff the Public Works Department is materially influenced by the people's understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now therefore, I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, proclaim that the week of May 21st through May 27th, 2017 be known as National Public Works Week, with the theme Public Works Connects Us. I call upon all citizens, business owners, and visitors to the community to recognize the substantial contributions of the Public Works Department in making a great community for all. Done this 15th day of May 2017 in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Progress.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep, you're welcome.
Committee reports, Public Works Committee, Chairman Brown.
Nothing for official action for tonight. Our next meeting is June 12th here at 3 p.m. Progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Shipsta is not here. Is somebody on the committee here to report?
The May 18th meeting is going to be canceled. We'd like to try to reschedule that so the committee members could come see me after the council meeting. We can try to figure out a date, but Mr. Shipsta feels it's important to reschedule that meeting.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairman Anders.
Yes, I have several items for official action this evening. The first is to hire pool cashiers, the first being Angela Verling of Emmaus for $7.25 per hour, Amanda Lavana of Emmaus for $7.25 per hour, and a concession stand attendant, Brendan Ward, for $7.25 per hour. And I am also requesting approval for a pay rate increase for lifeguard Shannon Burkholder to $8.75 per hour, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there, by Councilman Anders. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 6 ayes.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is from Karas Promotions / JCJ Entertainment for Community Day weekend. As you'll see on your desks, there is a contract from the promoter, and this is to do a carnival the weekend of June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at Community Park. Part of the contract is that the vendor has agreed to pay us $25,000 for the event, and that payment was due on the first day of the event. There are several things we would be providing, 2 police officers for coverage of each day of the event, and our agreement is also for us to promote the event. And then there's many duties that that they would be providing. Several of it is recruiting of patrons, of course. They're going to pay for all of their performers. Their rides and amusement houses will be certified. They also will be providing, their water, sanitary, portalets, and there's many other items on the contract. The committee did discuss this. We did vote a 3-0 to approve this, again with the conditions. It's 3-2, excuse me.
I don't think we actually voted on
Did we not vote on it?
No, we
just
didn't
discussed
vote.
it.
We discussed it in a lot of detail, and
Okay, excuse me.
We were all in favor of it, but we didn't have an official vote.
Okay, thank you. And then we did also do, follow up on the company to ensure that they are providing adequate.
well, and that's why you didn't vote, because we had a lot of homework we had to do to get to this point to even consider it. So we did all the reference checking. We called the Florida State Fair. We called Ohio. We called a bunch of different places these guys have performed to make sure that they're actually legitimate. And then what we did was we took their proposed contract and sent it over to the borough solicitor, who did his thing and amended several items. So that's why you have the amendments that I sent you. But all in all, I think it looks okay.
And
I think our biggest concern was, are they legit?
Right.
I mean, that was a big question mark at the committee meeting, and this JCJ Entertainment has been performing for quite some time, and all the different organizations that they performed for that I called had very positive comments about it.
I would also note that June 4th is the community day, and having a carnival there would probably help the commission's event as well for community day, and draw additional people to the park.
I think it would greatly enhance that event.
Absolutely.
Do you want to place that in form of a motion?
I will place that in the form of a motion to permit Karos Promotions / JCJ, under the conditions of the contract, to host the carnival on June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Do we have hours yet?
Yeah, 10 to 6. James Martin is actually here if we have any questions for him.
Yeah, I
But
just would
believe-
like to
I
have
would
the
think Friday and
hours.
Saturday
I believe it was
would be
10
later
to
than
6.
Actually,
Hi, James. Could you just
actually-
state your name?
James Martin.
Thank you.
And it's 10 to 8 actually. 10 to 8 Saturday, Sunday, 5 to 9 on Friday. Since we're technically still in the school year, we kind of follow that schedule. Once school's out, we might stretch it a little more. But that's the schedule. 5 to 9 Friday, 10 to 8 Saturday, 10 to 8 Sunday.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
And your community day goes till 6.
Correct.
I would assume if the vendors are there and they're doing well, they could stay longer if they wanted to.
Correct, because the concert,
Well,
But
the
official-
concert will be going.
Officially, it's over,
the
though.
concert is actually done at 6.
And if this
The
is
concert
six-
goes 4 to 6.
Okay. If this is successful, I mean, this
3 to
is something
6.
that,
I
that
stand
maybe
correct.
can
3
be
to 6.
part of community day for future years. If it's something that, you know, I think it's a crapshoot for the first year, you don't know how it's gonna go. But if it's a successful event, maybe that's something that, you know,
Could be
the
built on.
Recreation and Entertainment Commission can incorporate.
I'm not
Moving
sure,
forward.
did we mention that it's $25,000?
I did.
We did mention it. I guess we'll have to decide where all that's going to, because it's a 3-day event. And 1 day of it is during the,
Well, and so,
Community day.
yeah, and so I
because
mean,
there is going to probably be grass repair or
well, I'd like
possible
to just
services.
make my
Correct.
position known that my recommendation would be that all the borough's expenses that we incur would come out of that, and then the balance would go to the commission for their expenses, since it is, after all, their,
Okay.
you know, their event.
Okay. I see some smiles. All right, so there's a motion on the floor. Was there a second?
I don't believe there was.
No, yeah.
A second by Councilman Barrett. Questions or discussion? Councilman
I
Dufresne?
did read this on Friday, so essentially the only thing that's changed is number 7's been struck.
No, we actually took out a bunch of stuff. The liability
Mhm.
is fully on them, so that was changed.
Yep.
They had asked for like an automatic renewal type of thing, that's gone.
Okay.
And there was a,
Cancellation clause.
right, that
Which-
has been modified.
I'm
Which
good.
has been
Liability
modified.
one was my biggest issue. Okay,
Yep.
I'm good.
My only thing is that they're going to coordinate with John Dyschala, I'm assuming, to make sure that they're not setting up anywhere that would impede parking or anything else in the park.
Yeah, that, the entire thing would have to be coordinated with Mr. Dyschala. Well, yeah, obviously the police department too.
Just for your, I did carefully look at the contract, some things, but it was only today, so I didn't have a ton of time to mess with it, but the bottom line is, this will work. And you probably, and what's promised in that contract should greatly enhance your social activity.
I guess we would need to decide which of the, if you're going to vote in favor of this, you need to decide which of the artists act. they're
But
going
you
to
can
have.
delegate that to Shane.
Well, I hate to break this news to you, but I maybe took the choice out of your hands a little bit. Because I usually bring fire spinners, fire breathers, and maybe a family acrobat team. So that made me, that list on there is sometimes my choice a little bit. So I apologize. It's kind of who we have available. But sometimes we have all those, and you can choose which you want. But these are the ones we're probably going to bring.
Okay.
Fire breathers, fire spinners, and a family acrobat team possibly.
Right, and I believe we did get a listing of rides that would be coming as well.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I
list
think
of
It's on the
10.
email.
Correct.
Yeah,
There's a list of 10. And a bounce house too, right?
a couple bounce houses, because kids 10 and under, that's all they ask for are those bounce houses. So, matter of fact, a lot of carnival companies are now hiring people to bring bounce houses along their rides because all those young kids want bounce houses.
Okay. We had the proper insurance and that checked out.
Yeah, we had put some different language in there, but you had already sent me insurance paperwork, right?
Correct.
And they're gonna name us as an additional insured on their policy.
Which they had already,
Yeah, we already
You'd
did
already
that,
done that.
yes.
Awesome. I guess the only other thing I have as a concern is 3 weeks away and promoting the event and making sure that the community knows about it. And I think it's not all on him. I think some of it's on the commission, and make sure that you promote that through Facebook, social media, and whatever you can. Because you're not going to be having a banner hanging over the borough streets for people to find out about it. So you need to spread it by word, basically. So I would like to see that start right away if you guys can do that, because if you want this to come back again, it has to be successful.
Absolutely.
They're going to be putting out, I think,
30,000
30,000
Up,
brochures.
up to.
30,000.
Really, you should probably do everything you can, put it on our website, whatever, because it could be a very valuable activity.
Absolutely.
Great.
Agreed.
All right, any other questions or concerns? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Passes 6-0.
so Mr. Martin, if you stick around after the meeting, we can sign the contract.
That's
Tonight.
fine. Yeah, I'd be glad to, thank you.
All right.
We don't
you
have
so
too
much.
much longer.
All right, thank you so much.
The next item that we have is the car cruise and car show at Community Park. Again, another event, July 16th. This was just brought to us. Basically, it would be a Camaro car show, and it would be July 16th with 50 cars. They would be needing the pavilion, the football pavilion, because the parking would be down at that end, and then extend up past the football field and the next row over, if I counted correctly, the spacing. The event would be from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. We have a band that evening. It's one of the biggest bands that they have. Blanking on the name.
How about
Large
the
flower
flowers?
Large flower.
Yeah, they have
Thank you, Miss Minzer.
They have a big following.
They do. So
Very good.
between the event there, I think this would be a great compliment. They would be charging a $20 fee per vehicle, and the money would go to the commission. The commission would have to pay for trophies for the cars. The person would do the promoting. It is the car club. They said that they would do a lot of the promotions and getting people there. So it would be, though, a commission event. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to permit the cruise and car show at Emmaus Community Park July 16th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
So motion by Councilman Anders. Is there a second? Councilman Barrett. Questions? Councilman Barrett?
How many prizes are there going to be? Is it just a first, second, and third, or are there a number of dynamic prizes?
I believe there was more than a first, second, and third. There's like best in show and some other type.
Different
type
categories.
ones. Yeah, I think it was like 5 to 10 total awards is what they were looking at. They did a little research on the trophies. Probably would be about $200 to maybe $300 maximum.
Yeah, that's
for-
why I was asking, to understand what the expense versus the total.
And that would be the only real true expense that they have.
And the total number of cars, you did say it, but what was the number?
They were maxing it at 50.
50.
You putting your car in there?
And what's the entry fee?
$20.
7 Jeep in there?
Councilman
This is not
DeFrank.
the same thing that was out on Jubilee Street last year. It's completely
No,
different.
this is a
That was
different,
Thunderbird.
yeah, this is a
Right.
different
That's
car
right.
club.
That was out here in front of Town Hall.
My question is, what is the time for the large flower heads that they're playing? Because
Six-
if the car
six-
shows 2 to,
6 to 8.
and
So
the car shows 2 to
is
6.
till 6, and then.
I would just suggest that you get in contact with the large flower heads. They have a large following and their social media to let them know there's a car show leading into their concert to get their fan base in there.
Correct, absolutely.
I would make sure you do that.
And
All
they
right.
would also be coordinating it with, I spoke with Jay down at the park and how we would coordinate the cars coming in and out. We'll have to obviously have some volunteers to also help park.
And this is another event that, if it's successful, you could have yearly.
Correct.
So, any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 6 ayes.
Okay, there's a couple things that I also wanted to mention. It's kind of park related or recreation. May 28th at the Memorial Garden, they do have the Veterans Brick installation. I meant to do that during community events, so I apologize. And then also May 29th is the Memorial Day Parade, and you know, that comes through town here, and many of the faces I see out here walk in it or come and see it. So
And what time does the march actually take off from the high school?
I want to say it's 9 a.m.
9?
9.
And the rain,
They do something indoors at the
At
high
the
school.
high school?
I've never.
is it still at 9?
In all the years, I've never seen it happen. Knock on wood. Yeah.
I've seen it once over my long time.
There is one other note that I have here. The library came to discuss with us the possibility of putting book bins at the community pool for people to read and relax as they are at the pool this year. They are working on the type of style, and we'll work with the pool manager and John Dyshala.
That needs to be voted on.
It does, okay. So with that, I'll put it in the form of a motion to allow the Emmaus Public Library to put book bins at the community pool for patrons to read books.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Anders. Is there a second? Councilman Barrett, questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There's 6 ayes.
And I believe.
Pool party, the pool
Okay.
party.
Oh, yes, thank you. Also, one other item would be the library has requested to have a pool party on August 21st from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The library would pay a $100 fee for patrons showing their library card to get in. And again, that's August 21st, 5 to 8. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to permit that.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Anders. Is there a second? Councilman Barrett. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There's 6 ayes.
And with that, I will report progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairwoman Gilbert.
Thank you. I have 2 items for official action this evening. The first is on your desk. It's a picture of a Chevy Tahoe. Chief Price is in desperate need of a new vehicle. His has some major issues. It's burning through oil like crazy. It needs air conditioning, tires, brakes, driver's seat. So he did come before the committee, and he is asking to purchase a 2016 Chevy Tahoe with, is it a fire package?
Yeah,
That it's equipped for, specifically for fire department use?
yeah. The other thing is, so the transmission is completely shot. Our mechanics
Can't
said
fix it.
that it needs to go to a junkyard. Like, if we're gonna trade it in, we have to drop it off a block from the dealer and push it. So,
May I ask, what is he using now then to transport if that transmission is shot? Does I know
he's driving the ladder truck home. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He-
I can't even.
This just started happening over the last week or so.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
it's important that we have a functional vehicle for the fire chief
No,
because he's answering.
I agree. That's why
I
I was
recalled
asking,
Monday to
have
Friday,
we given him
so.
some backup vehicle?
Yeah, we're using the utility truck that's over there.
Okay.
Right now as a substitute, but this is not a one, like, we don't want to do this, but we do need to do this.
What is the year the vehicle it's replacing?
Well, so. Yeah, if you remember, we bought a very hard used vehicle.
What, a year and a half ago, we purchased that one?
Yeah, the previous chief
What's the year on it,
had
though?
looked at vehicles.
Oh,
It was like an 05 or something. Or
If
an
that.
I think it's, I was gonna say, I think
I
it's.
don't
Yeah,
know.
it might have even been.
Did we get it for like 5,000 or something?
It was like 7,900, I think
Yeah.
it was.
Okay.
It was already worn and torn before we got our hands on it, and
Yeah.
you know, when you buy somebody else's mess, that's exactly what you get.
Well,
it's
we-
beyond the point where it's cost effective to fix it.
Well, I guess we got our $7,900 worth.
So,
Yeah.
Shane, are we in
Year
discussion?
and a half.
May I ask a question? this is showing a 2016. What is the difference between the 16s and the 17s?
So this is a leftover, and it's probably 4,000 cheaper than
Okay,
17.
okay.
It's on the lot now if you're going to buy a 17. So what happens is, especially for co-stars, is Chevy or Ford or whoever's making the packages will only make a certain number. The 2017s they're done making. 2016s obviously they've been done making.
Right.
So your only chance of getting a 2017 is if you find a leftover on a lot with this package. We've gone through this before with the police car. If you remember, it took like 11 months for that car to come in because once they start retooling at the plant,
Right.
you're waiting. So he found a leftover, I think this is all the way out in Mount Joy.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a leftover, and it's a 16, so it's brand new.
And does this come directly from the fire budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you place that in the form of a motion?
Yeah, I'll place it in a form of a motion. Shane, do you want a cap on the figure not to exceed 48,000? Because the quote came in at 47,150 something.
Yeah, I would say 48,000, and only because we're going to need to stripe and put lights on it.
All right,
Yeah,
then I will
the LED lights and all that.
Yeah.
place it in a form of a motion to allow Chief Price to purchase the 2016 Chevy Tahoe, maximum of $48,000.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Gilbert. Is there a second? Councilman Brown?
I'm sorry, who was it?
Councilman Brown?
Brown.
Second.
Okay.
Any questions or discussion?
I have one.
Councilman Brown?
Just, you said that it's going to come out of the fire budget. I'm going to ask a question. I know the answer probably, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Fireman's Relief Fund. Is this able?
No.
Thank you. I knew it, but I thought I'd ask anyway. You never know when that can be lifted.
Yeah.
So,
no.
so the money's going to, is there, because this wasn't an approved capital,
It'll come out of their contingency fund.
okay.
I think Mr. Price had laid out to the committee how he had planned on paying for it, but contingency has the funds in it to cover it. It's important to note that the initial purchase of the vehicle will be from Whitmoyer Auto Group out of Mount Joy on the Pennsylvania Coast-Stars contract. The raw price of the vehicle is $36,100, and the reason why Mrs. Gilbert had stated 48,000 is because of the package. You have to put the lights and the striping and the radios and
Command center in the back.
yeah. So there's things that you have to put in the vehicle to make it so that he can actually respond in an emergency situation.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There's 6 ayes.
I have one other item on your desk this evening is a memo from Chief Price requesting to appoint Laura Hampshire as a volunteer EMT to the ambulance corps. Attached is her application, so I would place that in the form of a motion to appoint her as a volunteer.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Gilbert. Is there a second? Councilman Barrett? Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 6 ayes.
Other than that, I don't think I have anything further. Actually, on April 29th, we participated in the National Take Back Drug Day. That was a Saturday, and the police department collected, I believe it was 25 pounds. Yeah, it was 25.5 pounds. Total that was collected that day was 363.5 pounds throughout the county. But we came in at 25.5. Also, the police department will be participating in National Click It or Ticket seatbelt enforcement initiative starting today, May 15th through June 4th. So make sure you're all wearing your seatbelts when you're out driving. Other than that, I'll report progress.
Thank you. General Administration Committee, Chairman Barrett.
I have no items for official action. Our next meeting is May 24th at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Budget and Finance Committee is myself. We have the bill list to pass. It's Resolution 2017-19. Is there anybody that would like to make a motion to pass the resolution?
So moved.
Councilwoman Gilbert, is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions on the bill list? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 6 ayes. I have nothing else to report. Next committee meeting is May 25th, here in Council Chambers at 3:15. Community Relations Planning and Development Committee, Chairman Dufresne.
We already did ordinance number 1155, the second reading. No other stuff for action here,
One item.
items for action. Okay.
Yeah.
And an interview.
You want me to talk?
Yeah, if you don't mind, because you had to pay, I didn't have the paperwork. I know it's a banner request for.
So we're supposed to have a CRD, and I knew you were going to be late, and Mr. Shupsta had told me this morning that he wasn't going to make it today, so we had an ad hoc, because we had already invited the individual making this request, her name is Hedge Sifkovich, I think is her name. They are having the Lehigh Valley Fiber Festival at the Pool Wildlife Sanctuary, which is right over in Orchid Place. And essentially, what they wanted to do was hang a banner in the borough, even though the event is literally right across the borough line. Our rules say that they cannot hang a borough if it's not a borough organization or in the borough of Emmaus. So I had told her that council would have to override that policy. The committee, like I said, the ad hoc committee, since she was already here, met. It consisted of Mr. Anders, Mr. Brown, and Mrs. Gilbert. Met, discussed it. There's going to be 50 to 75 fiber-related vendors. They're expecting about 1,000 people a day. Overflow parking is going to be at the high school. The event's on September 23rd to 24th. Wildlands Conservancy gets part of the profit that they make off of the event, if they make a profit after expenses. And the committee discussed, I think, in pretty solid detail, and you can ask the three of them as to the details of their discussion, but they voted to approve hanging the banner after the conclusion of the St. Anne's Fest, which is the weekend of the 8th, 9th, and 10th, I think, of September.
And I will, they will be paying the $175 banner fee for that.
So you're looking for a motion?
Yeah, well, that's what we.
I'll-
That's what we.
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Anders. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, questions or discussion? Councilman Barrett?
And so what was the general rationale to go against what we have basically adhered to? I mean, I have some idea, I'm not
Well,
in disagreement, I just want to know.
There were several things. They do have an Emmaus address.
Mhm.
So for the confusion, yes, it's not in the borough, but they technically have an address for the Wildlands there. It is a nonprofit, so we felt that it would benefit them, and they're a good community partner. The banner would be down at the end of by 10th Street.
Yeah.
Is where it would be.
And does the ordinance read that it's the event must take place in the borough, or that the organization must be?
Either.
Either. Okay. Well, I mean,
And
they do
I
own
don't
land.
believe it's
They own-
an ordinance. It's a policy.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they own a substantial amount of land in the borough.
Well, so they're
Right?
not. They're actually not the sponsoring organization. It's this.
The event
They're the
is
ones-
The arts.
held-
they're the ones
They're called
benefiting
AHA
from it.
Arts Management, I believe.
Correct.
The event is being held there on their grounds.
Yeah. Gotcha.
My question is, we almost never have anyone pay to put banners up because they're always borough organizations. So it's an opportunity to get money to pay to put the banner up. But if I recall, if I remember properly, the $175 doesn't cover our costs of the labor of putting it up and taking it down. Am I right on that? For some reason, that sticks in my head that it doesn't cover the cost.
We about break even.
We raised the cost, I believe, on that.
When
this
you
year.
when you're doing the farmers market and it's up and down every other weekend, no, it doesn't cover the cost. When it's a one and done, we're pretty close to breaking even.
I guess, and I didn't think of this earlier, Shane, is do we now have a lift to put things back up and down the banners?
We're working on that.
Okay. Just
I think I'm going to be voting no on this just because of, and I'm sure Wes is kind of in the same ballpark. We try to set precedent and stick with it because it can open up a can of worms. Because if you say yes to this, when the next one from Salisbury Township says, well, we're right on your border, and how do you determine who do you say yes to and who you say no to? And I just rather not open that can of worms.
So this, I believe this is the first one like this in Sutherland Council, so that has been the way we've handled in the past, the way you just said, that we've not allowed them.
Yes, it's always been a borough organization or event. Councilman
And as in
Barrett.
always, I mean, we've really only firmed up a lot of these policies in the last few years,
But
so
we've stuck
always
with
is
them since
subjective.
we've stuck with them since we've firmed them up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done a very good job of staying true to what we've tried to create a policy, because we had a lot of time to think about the policies instead of where you're trying to come up with a strategic decision now versus the policies which had multiple meetings of thinking. I mean, I have hesitations. What is the actual date?
September 23rd and the 24th.
So, I mean, I don't know that it's going to change my mind either way, but
There's no other
there was
events.
nothing on the calendar. We looked at the
No.
events. There was nobody with a banner request for that time period. Basically, St. Anne's would come down on the 11th, and then this would be up for 2 weeks.
I guess my thinking is that if it could be pushed off, I mean, it's just to think of what is the negative ramifications of almost any time that we break our policies, we end up regretting it. So if there's no real rush to make this decision, and
Yeah, the only thing that's pressing is the fact that it takes 2 months to get any kind of permit for these things.
okay,
And that's not our fault, that
Yeah,
is-
it's the state. Yeah, I
That's the
get it.
bureaucracy of it.
And they don't have a banner made yet either. They're going to have their banner made contingent on this approval.
Yeah, I think I would feel more comfortable if the actual policy said if there's a slot open for a banner and no borough event is happening, then they could have that slot. And maybe that simple adjustment to a policy would take care of this situation, but we don't have time to adjust that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, so let me just, I'm not advocating one way or the other. I just want to talk about the conversation at the committee, the meeting.
that would be helpful.
So this organization is not, this is a fundraiser for these guys to partner with the Wildlands Conservancy. And when we talk about fiber, they're talking about native plants. They're talking about basically preservation of environmental things, which is something that the Wildlands Conservancy has been a big advocate of and continues to be a partner with us. I mean, they're looking at another grant that they're applying for to partner with us for more stream bank restoration. So as we were talking about that between us at that, at 6:30, that was a major consideration, that the Wildlands Conservancy is more of a partner to us. I mean, I talk to them at least once a month on some kind of project that they're partnering with us on. So I think the rationale that they were looking at that point wasn't necessarily this AHA Arts Management or the fact that somewhere in Salisbury Township they were having this event. I think what they were looking at was the Wildlands Conservancy is more of a partner in the Borough of Emmaus than they're not. They may not be in the Borough of Emmaus, but they certainly are in our community and doing very positive things for us. So I just wanted to share that's really what the conversation consisted of, and what the rationale was as to whether they should approve that kind of event. And since it would be benefiting them, I think the committee felt that was the positive of approving a banner.
Yeah, I don't, and that's why I asked a lot of questions. If it was a group that I didn't recognize, or a group that hasn't been such an integral part of the borough for years and years and years, and I agree with the cause as well. So I mean, it's an easy yes. It's more of that there's this policy. in
Oh,
front
well,
of
right,
it.
right, and that's why I made them come to you guys.
Right, exactly.
That's the beautiful
exactly.
thing about my job.
Yeah, no, everything you said is really obvious and straightforward to me. I mean, they've been a great community partner. It's just we deal with the policy, and I think we've done, as a council, a really good job of adhering to policies and
We
explaining
have.
that this
And you're
little
absolutely-
piece for
We have.
$175 and a small piece is what we end up spending the most time
And
debating
you're
on the
absolutely
floor of
right.
it.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Councilman Brown, you had something?
No, just, the last time that we stuck to this policy was Quakertown School came to us. Just to kind of remind you, that was the only time that an outside of the
Right.
borough limits entity came to us, but it was in Quakertown. So I guess what really happened was it's a partner of Wildlands Conservancy is really, I think, for me, is my decision here, so.
And as far as the right to free speech, I know we've talked about that when we close it into the borough organization versus opening up to others, would we still have the same right to deny it on that same premise if Quakertown came back to us again?
Well, so
That's a
so
good
remember what you denied that Quakertown school for? They were essentially recruiting for people to go to their school.
Right.
That wasn't an event that they were sponsoring. I mean, this is an event, and that's what you've historically put banners up for, is events. And you have approved banners for all sorts of different organizations that aren't necessarily, borough-owned organizations.
In answer to your question specifically, it's not content-oriented whatsoever. It is a policy dealing with location. In other words, the entity does not, the event is not within the borough, so therefore free speech would not be an issue. If you said, no, you can put up signs for churches, but you can't put up signs for, I don't know, some other club or something like that, that would be content-oriented.
Right, yeah, and I'm not saying that it's content oriented here, it was more geographic, which I wanted to make sure that didn't fall into this. So the next time, if Quakertown came back to us, we're not obligated in any way, okay.
Well, but to that end, Mr. Barrett, I guess the question would be, what if Quakertown Borough came in and said, hey, we're having a festival in Quakertown, we want to put a banner up in the Borough of Emmaus, does this set a precedent?
No. I mean, when you say does it set a precedent, someone could always come back and say, hey, you did it for them.
Right.
But you have a policy, and you've enumerated your reasons for your exceptions. I do not see it as being binding.
So we're essentially saying that because they've been a great partner of us and they partner with many other events, and maybe this time we might go a little bit in the gray.
Oh, and it's 15 feet outside the Borough of
So we
Emmaus.
might go a little bit in the gray areas here.
It's into a gray area, and they also own a lot of land within the
Within the
borough.
borough itself.
I'm still going to be voting no.
I just have one question. Does anyone remember Wildlands ever putting a banner up when they have their native plant sale?
I thought they did.
I don't remember any.
No,
Maybe
I've
some
seen
Not-
other banners in other municipalities, but never.
But
in
never
Borough.
here in the borough?
Yeah.
It's just the sandwich board signs at the intersections? Okay. Because I thought they put a banner up. Okay.
Not since 2012, I know
Okay.
that.
I still will be voting no. I think there's other organizations that we partner with that could come into another situation. As an example, organizations in the county. So I'm still going to vote no on this until we change the policy. So if anybody doesn't have anything else to add to the debate, I'm going to call for the vote. But please, along with your voice vote, raise your hand also, because I think it's going to be a mixed vote. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
No. Dufresne and Ladenburg, no. Passes 4-2.
And if I could make a request then that we talk about this in the next, I guess that would probably be GA meeting that this would came
I'll
out
refer to
originally.
the GA committee.
Just to talk about maybe
to
tweaking that
discuss
policy
it and
to-
maybe adjust
to
it.
address that.
Actually, it will go to probably CRD,
All right, we'll send it to CRD.
Even better.
since you adopted that ordinance
better.
tonight.
I apologize for not being here, but I did tell you how to work me. I was gonna be late.
Way to go.
Mr. Dufresne, may I also add something for CRD? Just the Southwestern Lehigh agreement, please, if you haven't looked at it, please take a look. They are nearing crossroads towards the end of it, and they're asking for feedback from Emmaus.
They'll be getting our feedback.
Okay. Brent Stringfellow takes care of it.
Is that progress for CRD then?
Progress.
Thank you. You have your zoning hearing board meeting minutes listed. Personal appeals, part 2. Anybody have an appeal? Hearing none. Borough managers report.
Yeah, hold on a second, I'm sorry. Significant revenue and expenses for the first half of May are in your iPads. I'm gonna go with that. If you have any questions for me, please ask.
Please.
Otherwise, I'll just tell everybody tomorrow's election day, get out and vote. It's, I always say it, I put it on our Facebook page, it's the greatest freedom we have in our society, so make sure you exercise that right. Progress.
Thank you for stealing my thunder, because that's all I was going to say is make sure you get out and vote.
Well, I saw you had it written down, so.
I didn't have it written down. But I wish luck to everyone that's on the ballot. I see some here, so I wish everyone luck. I'll put my 2 cents in. I wish there were more people that got involved in the community. I don't like seeing primaries where there's empty slots. I think there should be choices for people. I think people should always have those options, and it's unfortunate when people don't get involved and you don't have those options. So that's my 2 cents. So I wish everyone luck tomorrow. We have no executive session, so I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilman Barrett, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Meeting adjourned at 7:55.